Hello, my audience. I'm reviewing all of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, from Superman 4 to Superman 1. I give them a 7 out of 10 for above average because I have problems with the movies, and I'm going to list off the problems. One is, Superman's really given not a whole lot of good villains to fight. In fact, Superman doesn't do anything outside of saving cats from trees with his powers, or doing lame shit, saving people. Yeah, he never does any comic book action with the Superman movies, Christopher Reeve Superman movie, outside of Superman 2 and 3 and 4. Because Superman 1, that's the problem with Superman 1. And one of my problems with Superman 1, I didn't like how Superman is not in. I just didn't understand why Superman couldn't be in a committed relationship with Lois Lane, or do committed relationships. I mean, he's known for being in a committed relationship with Lois and being married to her in the comics. In many decades of comic book history, it's based around them being married and being like a real couple and making it work. With him being Superman and stuff, and it's like when you get some of that in Superman 2, it's instantly retconned because Superman wipes her memory with her kiss to make her forget the events of Superman 1 and 2. And it's probably why she's not in a whole lot of Superman 3 and 4, Lois Lane. I think Superman 2 is the best Superman movie in the franchise. By Christopher Reeve. And I think Superman 3 is better than Superman 1. But Superman 4 is not as good as Superman 1. It's definitely the worst one in the franchise. Next to Superman 1, I think. These movies aren't bad. It's just that the plots are bare bones stupid. Because there's so many characters that comic release characters. Like there's often comic release characters in these movies that really don't add anything to the plot, and you just, other than they're a nuisance, and you tolerate the comic release characters unless they're eye candy, like Miss Tussmucker from Superman 1 and 2. She was the only comedic release character I liked, but that's because she's hot. And she's more tolerable than the average comedic release character because she's hot. But, God, she doesn't do anything for the plot. I mean, to make Luthor look good. Because, she actually ends up backstabbing Luthor. And Luthor doesn't kill her. He just goes on a fit. And screams, Miss Taskmaster, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Luthor is not bald in this movie until the end of Superman 1. That's a little different than him rocking the bald look for his comic book counterpart. Once he becomes bald. But, Luthor in this movie has just always been bald, I guess. But he wears a wig in this continuity, so, not the most comic book accurate Luthor, and this Luthor's kind of made to be a joke. And not meant to be taken seriously. You can tell by how Gene Hackman plays him. He was trying to make a more over-the-top villain instead of a more menacing villain like Luthor should be. Or a bald villain like Luthor should be. And, so Luthor really is the worst hero that Superman has ever fought in history. by the Christopher Reeve franchise. Worse than Richard Pryor. At least Richard Pryor, Superman, at least Richard Pryor gave him that fake kryptonite that made Superman go crazy and evil and stuff with himself into the events of Superman 3. But that happened because he couldn't find the real kryptonite to kill Superman. Because he's lazy and idiot of a character, Richard Pryor is. In the movie Superman 3. I like Superman 3 more than Superman 1, still. Superman 3 was a good movie, the second best in the Christopher Reeve franchise. Remember that fight between evil and good Superman? It was Clark Kent, double evil gang. Remember in the movie Superman 3, Superman fought his evil self after he went nuts? It was a pretty cool, epic fight in Superman 3. It had some of the best action. And even the fight with Nuclear Man even though the effects were shit and all, because you could see the wire, I'll give credit. The Superman 3, the first 3 Superman movies didn't have problems with the budget. But Superman 4 definitely had problems with the budget because you see the wire and see all the effects weren't finished. Superman 3 is mostly the worst one. Mostly because it's the least visually stunning. Not because it's the worst story to me. To me, the worst story is Superman 1. I guess. The structure stories, I thought. Anyway. I love Christopher Reeve's performance as Superman in this movies. All 4 movies he starred in. But the plots of these movies aren't bare bones that great. And the characters are a lot of the characters are annoying comedic relief characters, majority of them. Like Jimmy Olsen is kind of a comedic relief character in this movie, and not really Superman's best friend in this movie. Although because it kind of glanced over for making him a comedic relief character, you know, Jimmy Olsen, and he's not really in it a lot in this movie. The 3 Superman movies, and he's known for being Superman's close bud, human friend in the comics, but this movie glances over that. We kind of got a little of that they're best friends in Superman Returns. Honestly, I think that's the best one in the Christopher Reeve saga. Superman Returns, the one without Christopher Reeve. I'll save that for a separate video, though. Talking about Superman Returns. Because I'm committing only to 4 reviews on this movie franchise that I've seen. So, that's why Superman franchise with Christopher Reeve gets a 7 out of 10, all 4 installments for me. Above average. Not super, just not bad. But there's a little magic in that mediocrity of storytelling. And that's Christopher Reeve's performance giving it his all. And being committed to the role. That's the magic of what's in this mediocrity story of the movie, when it's really no better than the Guardians franchise that James Gunn did with his trilogy of a story. All 4 of them are no better than the Guardians trilogy with James Gunn of a story. You know, the Guardians Galaxy. That was James Gunn directed all 3 of them. And I'm part of writing them right here. So, Maybe he can deliver the same mediocrity script for his new Superman movie if he just has the Superman not be a comedic relief character. Well, one of the comedic relief characters that have tons of comedic relief characters. But Superman wasn't a comedic relief character in his movie. He was one character you could take seriously. Christopher Reeve's Superman movie, you know? So, I enjoy these movies for what they were. Above average. That's my review on Superman franchise. Was Christopher Reeve, starring Christopher Reeve. Goodbye. Subscribe. Hit the thumbs up to like this content. Hit the comment section, let you know you can. If you want to comment below. I leave the comment section on now. Goodbye. That's my review on Superman with Christopher Reeve. Ta-ta. Bye-bye. And I'm looking for the off button. Pick up what shuts this off. I am a little sweaty now. Not that you can tell. I don't think you can tell on the camera. But I'm exhausted. And that's the review I made. Okay, I'm just exhausted. Still looking for the off button. I'm trying to figure which is off. I think this is the off button. No. Is this the off button?